Hello everybody, welcome to Folklore Fridays. For Folklore Fridays, I like to share some type of folklore, folk tale, folk creature, in this case, some folky games with you while I do my makeup at the same time, just to kind of keep me busy and help me relax and be cool and fun with you guys. Today's video is a part 2 to my last video where I shared 3 scary ritual games from this book, Dangerous Games to Play in the Dark. And today I'm going to be sharing 3 more games with you from this book, and this book has been my primary source of information for both videos now. The scary games we are talking about today are not your typical go-to horror games, the 3 scary games you see so many YouTubers do. These games are real-life games that you play with your physical being that may either promise access to spirits, knowledge, or trips to other worlds. All of these games have some folklore and spooky origins tied to them, which is why I've included them in my Folky Friday videos, and they're kind of spooky, kind of dangerous, and it makes it really interesting. A lot of these games are typically considered like party games or tests of bravery. I feel like we usually learn about a lot of them as kids or as we're growing up with the internet. But despite that, these games can be pretty dangerous because they promise things that are so unknown to us. Now, just like in my last video, I'm going to give you all a quick warning from both me and the author of this book. It is not technically actually recommended to play these games at all. When you're trying to access these kinds of things, there's usually some type of price to pay. Or maybe if you're trying to summon something, that something may not want to leave. Or if you are trying to visit another realm, you may not be able to go back. If you choose to ignore all this advice and play these games, that's on you. I'm just sharing the information with you because I was curious. I believe she was just sharing the information because it's interesting. I haven't played any of the games, but if you choose to play these games and anything that happens to you is on you, not me, not the author. You're using your free will there, and that's on you, not on me, not on the author. Understood? So without further ado, if you're as curious as I was, let's jump on in. This first game we're going to be talking about is pretty well known in my opinion, and it is light as a feather, stiff as a board. References of this game date back earlier than you might expect. Samuel Pepys, I think is how you say his name, a Royal Navy administrator and a member of Parliament, actually described the game in his infamous diary. On July 31st, 1665, he recounts a story told to him by a friend. The story goes that his friend witnessed several children playing the game in France. It was described that 4 young girls appeared to raise a young boy above their heads with nothing but their fingertips. With the act, the children chanted, which was obviously in French, but I'm going to tell you what it was in English. They said, "Here's a dead body, stiff as a stick, cold as a marble, light as a spirit. Lift yourself in the name of Jesus Christ." Throughout the game's kind of popularity, there's been an attempt to explain the phenomena with physics, but there's still a kind of weird, ominous, eerie notion to it. Some odd things may or may not happen. The first step of this game is to gather your players and select a playing space. This game works best with a group of 5 or 6. It can be done with more. 5 or 6 is the go-to. The room you play in needs to be quiet and dark with a lot of floor space. Prepare the playing space by blocking off or drawing the curtains to any windows or areas where light may seep in. Also, depending on the furniture arrangement in the room, you may need to rearrange the furniture so that way there's a nice big open area of floor. If you choose to have these, you can use candles, so now would be the time to light them, and you can also use pillows and blankets on the floor for the person who will be levitating. Once all that is set up, you can turn off the lights and then select a player to be the group's levitator. Once you choose the group's levitator, this person will lie down on the floor, close their eyes, and cross their arms across their chest. This player must try to relax as much as possible. However, once they are in the position on the floor with their eyes closed and their arms crossed, this player should not move, should not open their eyes, and shouldn't speak either until the very end of the game. Also, choose a player to be a guide. This player will help with leading the chants and direct the actions of the rest of the group. The rest of the players are lifters. The guide and the lifters will position themselves around the levitator, and if there are 5 players, the guide and the lifters, place 1 at each shoulder of the levitator, 1 at each knee, and then have the guide at the levitator's head. If there are more players than this, just try to evenly space out the players amongst the lifter, or amongst the levitator. At this point, all of the players, the guide and the lifters, will slide their pointer and their middle finger under the levitator from both of their hands, like this. Then on the guide's signal, everyone will attempt to lift the levitator with only those fingers. Now, this attempt will fail, and you should expect it to fail, but it is going to be time to move forward. So none of the players will take their fingers from beneath the levitator, and the levitator still should not move, speak, or open their eyes. Still just try to relax. Now the real attempt can begin. The guide will begin to chant softly, saying, "She is looking ill." And the guide and the lifters will all repeat this together. "She is looking ill. She is looking ill." When the guide feels it is right, they will shift the chant to "She's getting worse," repeating it softly over and over. And the lifters need to pay attention for when the guide chooses to shift the chant to then also shift their wording and continue chanting as well. Again, when the guide feels it's right, the chant will need to shift again to "She is dying. She is dying. She is dying." Then for the final time, the guide will shift the chant to "She is dead," still repeating it softly along with the lifters. After the "She is dead" chant, the guide and the lifters will need to fall silent, and then the infamous chant will begin. The guide will begin to say, "Light as a feather, stiff as a board." The guide and the lifters will repeat this over and over. The guide should then signal that it's time to lift. As the lifting starts, do not stop chanting and do not lose focus on the lifting. Those are the only 2 things that matter at this moment. Just chant and lift. The guide will then indicate when it is time to begin lowering the levitator, and while lowering, continue to chant and continue to keep focus until the levitator is back safely on the ground. Once they are on the ground, all players will need to fall completely silent again and remove their fingers from beneath the levitator. Then the guide will extinguish all candles, open any curtains, and turn the lights back on. The levitator is now able to open their eyes, move freely, and speak. However, it is said that the levitator may not be the same after this, so it's important that the rest of the group keeps a close eye on the levitator for a few days after the game has taken place. For some additional information, this game is best played at night and typically has the best results when played at night, though it can be played at any time during the day as long as the light from the outside can be completely blocked out. During the chant, the pronouns of the chant for the levitator aren't, I used she, but they can be altered to fit the pronouns of the person who is the levitator. Again, pay some close attention to the levitator after the fact. Do they seem a little off? Is their behavior odd? Things like that. There are a bunch of versions of this game and you can look into any of them, and really the only major difference comes from the chants. The next game is hide and seek alone. The folklore for this game is related to dolls. Dolls have been an object of both comfort and fear, as there are many spooky stories involving haunted dolls and creepy dolls, even though they were even though most of the time they're intended to comfort children. Many cultures have their own uses and beliefs about dolls, but for this game specifically, it's dependent on Japanese folklore. Another name for this game is Hitori Kakurenbo, which directly translates to English as hide and seek alone. Dolls in Japanese folklore have a variety of meanings and superstitions. For example, the Hoku or Amagatsu dolls serve as protective talisman for children before they are born. They are meant to defend against evil spirits until the child comes of age, and then the dolls are burned. In purification rituals, the dolls are used as placeholders for specific people. The doll at the center of this game, though, is not considered to be good. Doll is meant to trap a spirit, allowing you to play a high-stakes game of hide and seek. Origins of this game are a little bit blurry, but it began to circulate online in Japan in 2007. Also, FYI, spirits don't like to be trapped. The first step of this game is to pick your playing location. Needs to be some kind of building or interior location, and wherever you choose, you will need to pick a really good hiding place. You can choose to do this in your home due to your own familiarity with your home, but inviting a spirit into your home does have some drawbacks. Just be warned there. The hiding place you choose must allow you to either sit, stand, crouch comfortably, but you also still need to be able to observe most of the room from this hiding place. Some potential good hiding places include standing behind floor-length curtains or in a closet with a door cracked. You just need to be able to be fully hidden, but you still need to be able to see the room. Also, these recommendations may not apply depending on the location you chose. Next, you will need to gather your supplies. You will need a stuffed doll or any kind of plush toy, enough uncooked rice to be able to refill the doll completely, red thread, a needle, a knife or scissors or any sharp object of your choosing, nail clippers, a cup of salt water, incense and a lighter, a functional TV, and a bathroom with a tub or a large sink in it. Now it is time to prepare your opponent. Use the knife or the scissors or whatever sharp object you chose to cut open the doll. Remove all of the stuffing from inside of it and then replace it all with the uncooked rice. Now, use the nail clippers to cut off a tiny little piece of your fingernails to put inside with the rice. Then you can sew up the doll with the needle and the red thread. You're gonna want a lot of the red thread, but you don't want it attached to the spool. Once you've sewn it up, you're gonna wrap the excess thread around the doll instead of cutting it off and remove that needle, and you will then tie the ends together to make sure the thread that's wrapped around the doll is secured tightly. Now you can prepare your playing field. First, fill the bathtub or large sink up with water enough that you'll be able to fully submerge the doll. Burn some incense in the room with your hiding place to help purify and cleanse the area. Then you can turn on the TV and then make sure all other electronic devices are either turned off or unplugged. Also, place your cup of salt water, prepare that, and then place it in your hiding spot, along with the knife and or scissors. Next, all you gotta do is give the doll a name, but make sure the name is not your name. And then you just gotta wait until 3 a.m. And once it's exactly 3 a.m., the game may begin. In the bathroom with the doll, you're gonna repeat this phrase 3 times. Your name is the first it. Say that. So your name is the first it 3 times. Take the doll and submerge it in the bathtub or sink and leave it there while you move through the house to turn off the lights in every room and make it to your hiding place. Once you get to your hiding place, count to 10, either to yourself or out loud with your eyes closed. After counting, pick up your knife, scissor, sharp object and return to the bathtub or sink. You're gonna remove the doll from the water and say, "I found you," doll's name. Then you will use your sharp utensil, the knife or the scissors or whatever, to cut the thread that we had wrapped around, or not we, you, to cut the thread that you had wrapped around the doll, and then repeat the phrase, "You are the next it," doll's name, 3 times. You will then submerge the doll again, and you will leave the knife or scissors or sharp object next to the doll, next to the tub or the sink, and then quickly and quietly go to your hiding place. And now you will wait. From your hiding place, keep an eye on the TV. If it starts to flicker or glitch or make any weird sounds, you may no longer be in the room alone. When you want the game to end, pick up the cup of salt water that you should have put in your hiding place and take a nice large sip of it, but don't swallow it. Hold it in your mouth and also keep the remaining saltwater cup in your hands. After doing that, you are now able to exit your hiding place and you need to look for the doll. Be aware the doll might not be where you left it. When you find the doll, dump the remaining salt water from the cup over onto the doll and also spit the water that's in your mouth onto the doll too. Then repeat, "I win," 3 times. After the game has ended, place the doll in a safe place where it can dry, and once it's dry, burn it and dispose of the ashes. Do not keep any part of the doll or its remains in your house. For some additional information, this game cannot be abandoned once it's begun. You have to see it all the way through. Do not let the game go on for more than 2 hours. And once it has begun, do not do any of the following. Do not turn on the lights, or lock any doors, or make any noise, or leave your house, if that's where you're doing it. But if it's whatever building you're doing it in, don't leave that building. It is very important to reiterate to not leave your hiding spot without the salt water in your mouth and the cup in your hand. Essentially, your safety will not be guaranteed. The next game we're going to be talking about is the elevator game. Elevators actually date back to antiquity. Ancient Greece and ancient Rome used rudimentary lift systems to move goods and people up and down. However, the elevator we know, and that is relevant for this game, wasn't officially created until 1852. There are a lot of superstitions around elevators and essentially the folklore of unlucky numbers to have as floors in buildings. Like, for example, in many English-speaking countries, 13 is believed to be an unlucky number and is not always present on the elevator button list for buildings that have more than 10 floors, more than 12 floors. In some East Asian nations, the same is true for the 4th floor. And in Italy, it's true for the 7th floor, and so on and so forth. Some believe that elevators can transport you to completely different worlds. This transportation method ritual entered the internet sphere from Korea in 2011 and is most commonly referred to as the elevator game. The first step of this game is to simply choose your location, and the only requirements for the location are that it is a building with at least 10 floors and has an elevator. That sound is my cat playing with a little ball toy. We're just gonna have to persevere. If the building you chose doesn't have either of those 2 things, you can't play the game. You're gonna wanna memorize this number sequence: 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. Go to your location and call the elevator from the 1st or ground floor. You must enter it alone. If anybody else enters it with you, the game cannot start. Okay, now you'll need that number sequence from step 2 because that is the order of the floors you're gonna go visit. Press each button one at a time. So you'll first hit 4th floor. You'll let it go to the 4th floor, open the doors, don't get out, then press your next number, 2nd floor, and continue that all the way until you get to the 5th floor. At the 5th floor, it is possible that a woman may enter. If she does, don't really look at her and do not speak to her. After visiting all the floors, so once you've done the 5th floor, you're gonna press the button for the 1st floor. When you do this, one of 2 things may happen. The first thing that can happen is that the elevator will go down to the 1st floor. If it does, once it gets to the 1st floor, you will exit the elevator immediately and do not speak and do not look back. Just leave the building. This means the ritual did not succeed. But if the elevator does the second option, which is goes up to the 10th floor, the ritual did succeed. But don't get too excited. There's still a lot to do. Once the elevator reaches the 10th floor, you will have a choice to make. You can either stay inside the elevator or you can exit. If you choose to stay in it, immediately press the first floor button, which there may be some difficulty doing so, but even if there is, just keep pressing and keep trying, because eventually it will go and the elevator will go down, which is exactly what you want. Once it gets down to the first floor, exit immediately. Do not speak, do not look back, leave the building. You can try again another day if you choose. If you chose to exit the elevator, then you are free to go around and explore. It may be wise to not go too far because you have to take the same exact elevator back to be able to get back to your world. And if the woman from the 5th floor is there when you choose to get out, she may use this as an opportunity to ask you where you're going. But again, do not answer, do not look at her. When you are ready to leave, again, be sure to make your way to the same elevator you came up on. You will have to visit each floor from the sequence again once you've re-entered the elevator to get back. So you'll go 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. After revisiting the 5th floor, quickly press the first floor button and the elevator may go up or down again. If it tries to ascend, press any floor number button to try and stop it from ascending. You must stop it before it reaches the 10th floor again. Once it makes its way down to the first floor, don't exit so quickly. Kind of observe the area. You need to be 100% sure that it is the exact same place that you entered when you started the game. If something feels off or a little odd, don't get out and just do the whole sequence again. And do this repeatedly until everything feels 100% safe, 100% correct. If everything seems good and you are 100% confident you can exit, you should exit immediately and leave the building. Don't look back. And to be honest, you may not want to use that elevator again. With this game, you can stop the ritual at any point before reaching the 10th floor by pressing any floor button to cancel it. If another person enters the elevator at any point and is not the woman from the 5th floor, the ritual has failed. Go back down to the first floor, exit, don't look back, but you can try again another time. Reports of what occur on the 10th floor vary and can pose a challenge when trying to return to the elevator. So, good luck. And to be honest, I don't really know what goes on with the woman from the 5th floor, but it is said if you speak or look at her longer than a glance, she may not let you leave, ever. And with that, that sums up our video for today. I hope you all liked it. I really like sharing these. I think it's fun and they make me feel kind of funny because it's like, they're kind of creepy and weird, and it's like if you do play it, who knows what's gonna happen? I don't know. Sharing these is fun. I don't know if I'll ever play them. I don't know how brave I am. This is today's look. I don't know how I feel about it. This star is looking a little funny. Not quite what I had hoped and dreamed. I wanted to do something a little bit cooler, a little bit weirder today, but there's a little star down here. So yeah, love me a star, if you couldn't tell. Thank you so much for joining me. I will maybe do another part on these. There's 24 different games in this, and with this video, I've only touched 6 of them. So maybe a few more. Got more plans and things cooking up here. If you like this, like folklore, like makeup, like me, maybe give me a like and subscribe. I don't know. If there's any folklore you want to, or like any cryptids, creatures, folktales you're kind of interested in but don't know a ton about and want me to talk about, let me know down below and I will get to that. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll see y'all later. Bye.